Lost in the Savannah by Tanish, Amal, Henry, and Alexander. Once upon a time, young Ellie the elephant was with her herd at the oasis, happily drinking and playing with her family. Every animal in the subtropical savannah was there. Lions, cheetahs, gazelles, and hyenas all drank from the oasis in peace, the water being a major factor in the balance of the ecosystem.
Hey, Ella. Ella jumped in surprise, turning around to see Harry the hyena staring at her. Whoa, how'd you sneak up on me? I didn't even see you walk up, Ella said, shocked. My spots on my back helped me blend into the savannah grass, letting me sneak up on prey like you, Harry said smugly. Ella was amazed by Harry's camouflage. It was the same color as the savannah. Yep, it's pretty cool. I can catch any animal, big or small. Just watch, Harry said as his eyes locked in on Ian the impala from across the oasis. Harry charged the impala, but before Harry could bite him, Ian turned and rammed his horns into him, sending Harry flying.
Ella's jaw dropped as she watched the predator get flung away. Ian, you could have heard him. That's the point. I use my horns in my head to protect myself and defend from predators and other impalas trying to challenge me. Ian said proudly. I can use it to fend off attacks and gore my enemies. Bang. Loud pops and bangs rung around the savannah. Each one strong and tall, formed laid and limp, lifeless on the dry grass. Ella froze in fear, and her herd stampeded around her. The other oasis animals ran panically. More pops were heard, and more of her neighbors dropped to the ground.
Ella snapped out of her stupor as she felt something whiz by her head. Her feet began pushing her forward instinctively, running as fast as she can away from the oasis. Ella ran until nightfall, not stopping for a moment. She was so scared that if she stopped, the banging would start again. When she returned to her senses, she realized she was all alone, separated from her herd. Ella laid on the dry grass, trying to catch her breath and calm down, when she heard someone call from above. Are you lost, young one? The nearby baobab tree called out to Ella. You don't seem to be from around these parts. I'm from the oasis far away from here. I was separated from my herd after something attacked us, Ella said, holding back tears. Don't cry. What's your name? Ella. Well, I'm the great baobab tree of the savannah. I provide for these lands with the fruit I bear, both through drought and rain, and with my fire-resistant bark I preserve water within myself. I am able to create fruit no matter the season. I know many who roam these plains, and I can introduce you to people who can lead you back to your home.
Really? Ella asked excitedly. Of course! Winston the wildebeest has been throughout the entire savannah. He knows it like the back of his hand. I'm sure he can lead you back to his herd. However, he lives far west of here, near the candelabra trees. You'll have to be led there by another friend of mine. Ollie! A small brown bird fell out of the tree, squawking. He laid on the ground for a moment, then jumped up and shouted, What? I was trying to sleep! The baobab tree ignored him and spoke to Ella. This is Ollie the oxpecker. He and Winston are old friends. He can bring you to him. It'll be a long journey, though, so you ought to leave now. Be safe. Ollie sighed and looked at Ella. I guess I have no choice. You're lucky I owe the old tree some favors. Just go the direction I point, he says, as he flew on top of Ella's head and points towards the west. After a moment of hesitation, Ella moves and the two begin the long trek towards Winston. As the pair walked, Ella became curious about who they were traveling to meet. So this Winston guy, who is he? How do you know him? Ella asked. Ollie grunted and said, Well, for one, he's a wildebeest. They roam around the savannah and migrate over 800 kilometers. If anyone can lead you back to your herd, it's him. As for how I know him, I'm an oxpecker. Us peckers and wildebeests have a mutualistic symbiotic relationship. We eat the ticks and parasites off of them, and in exchange, we get a steady source of food. We also act as lookouts for them, warning if a predator is around. Ella nodded and continued walking. The pair traveled for many nights and days until Ella stopped and collapsed, unable to keep going. What's wrong with you? Ollie asked, unsympathetic. I'm too hungry to keep going, Ella responded. Why don't you just eat? What am I going to eat? Ella's question left Ollie dumbfounded. The red oak grass around us? What else? Ella frowned. Red oak grass was her least favorite food, but it was the only thing around for miles. Red oak grass grew in uncultivatable lands with poor soil quality, so it was an important food source for herbivorous animals. It was relatively drought tolerant, so it was a reliable meal even when it didn't rain for a while, which due to this year's dry summer it hadn't. Okay, fine. Ollie, have you felt like anything is off while we've been traveling? Ella said as she ate. Now that she mentioned it, something about the savannah feels off. It's strangely quiet. Ella's eyes widened in realization. We haven't seen a single other animal since we began traveling, not even a wandering hyena. It's like the savannah is empty, she said worriedly. Ollie nodded. That is true, I guess. I think you're overthinking it, though. I mean, how could thousands of animals just disappear? And personally, I could do without ever seeing a dirty, low-class hyena again, Ollie said with a hint of disgust. Ella frowned. Something was deeply wrong. She was sure of it.
Their travel continued, and they eventually reached the area of the savannah where the candelabra trees grew. All right, Winston, should be somewhere around here. We just have to find him, Ollie declared. And how do we do that? I don't know. Ask somebody. Hey, tree, Ollie called to the nearby candelabra tree. What? The tree responded flatly. I'm looking for a wildebeest. His name is Winston. About 5 foot tall, extremely overweight, kind of ugly too, if I'm being honest. He's hard to miss. Have you seen anybody matching that description? Can't say I have. I haven't seen any animals recently, especially not those giraffes, thankfully. I think something might have happened to them. Why don't you like the giraffes? They seem nice, Ella asked, curious. They're one of the few animals who can eat my leaves. My branches grow large thorns to protect against grazers eating them, but giraffes have strong enough tongues so that they're able to ignore them, the candelabra tree said. Okay, don't care, Ollie said to the tree, then turned back to Ella. I'll fly around and look for Winston. Stay here.
Ollie flew over the savannah searching for Winston. Eventually, he spotted him alone by a dried-out oasis. Ollie returned to Ella and guided her to meet Winston. Winston, you old piece of fertilizer. The baobab tree needs a favor. This elephant needs to be led back home. Ollie shouted, Winston, turn and frown.
Oh.
I suppose I can. Not like I'm doing much. There's nothing left for me here. Not after what happened, the wildebeest said sadly. What happened? Are you okay? Ella asked. Winston chuckled bitterly. What happened? First, the oasis dried up, leaving my herd without water. The summer has been a harsh one. The drought has been particularly bad this year. Many sources of water have dried up, and lots of plants have died from both the heat, harsh climate, and lack of water. That's why red oak grass seemed like the only food left. Now, many animals are starving on top of that. Something has been wiping out the herds. No one knows what truly happens, only that loud bangs are heard and the animals being dropped dead. Personally, I think it's punishment from God for our sinful ways. Ollie chimed in. No one asked you, Ollie, but it seems like we are living in the end of times. My herd also attacked by this mysterious force. With the summer drought and the attacks, our travels may not have been safe, but I will lead you to...
Nonetheless, Winston promised. Winston had heard of the oasis Ella's herd had been at, and thankfully knew the path to it. The three began their journey to reunite Ella with her herd, Ollie deciding to stick around despite his job being done. The long journey was hard on Ella and Ollie, but wildebeests were adapted to long travel. Their muscular legs are ideal for traversing the uneven terrain of the grasslands, and their hooves are adapted to withstand the impact of running on hard ground. Winston was used to traveling over 800 kilometers during his migration, so while Ella and Ollie were exhausted when they arrived, Winston was still full of energy. Ella was excited to reunite with her family, but when they looked around the oasis, they realized it was just completely dry and empty of life, just like Winston's oasis. Ella held back tears as she realized her home was gone. Ella ran from Ollie and Winston, not wanting to cry in front of them. She laid under a bush and the tears began to flow. As she cried, she heard a voice from above. "Are you alright?" Ella sniffled and responded, "I think my family is gone. I don't know what to do. I'm sure you'll find them. It'll be alright." "How do you know? Who even are you?" Ella asked. "I'm Sarah the sicklebush, and I know because I've been in your situation before. When I was just a seedling, a sickness swept through the sicklebush population and wiped a lot of us out. But with our deep taproots and lateral horizontal roots that make eradication difficult, and our ability to spread fast, grow fast, and disperse numerous seeds, our population was able to bounce back. The same will be true for your family. The savannah is resilient, and all the problems with the drought, climate, and disappearances will all pass, and things will be okay." A sicklebush reassured. "You're right. Everything will be okay. I'm going back now," Ella told herself. "Thank you, Sarah."
Ella returned to Ollie and Winston feeling a little better. "Where'd you go?" Ollie questioned. "I just had to calm down a bit. What happens now?" Ella responded. "I really don't know, but maybe the wise baobab tree will have some guidance for us. We should go back to him," Winston said. The trio all agreed and began journeying across to the baobab tree. After some time, they decided to rest under a group of miombo trees, sheltered from the summer heat. As they rested, Winston began speaking. "Ella, I know what you're going through is hard, but you must not let it stop you from moving forward in life. This summer is difficult for everyone. Remember that you are not alone. I've gone through the same thing," Winston reassured. Ella didn't respond and just tried to sleep. The miombo trees they were resting under made good shelter for animals. It was an important part of the savannah as it provided food through its fruits and also shelter under its branches for animals like wild dogs, antelopes, and even elephants like Ella. The trio slept under the miombo trees and resumed their travel the very next morning.
Ella, Winston, and Ollie finally arrived back at the baobab tree. They told the tree what had happened, how Ella's herd had disappeared, and the oasis was completely gone because of the drought. The baobab tree was silent and thought for a moment, then spoke. "Ella, you've been put in a very difficult situation. The savannah is in a very bad state right now. The drought has been destroying oases all across the savannah, and these herds' disappearances, they're due to poaching. It's similar to when animals hunt for food, but instead, humans wipe out animal herds for sport and hide. This may seem like an unsalvageable situation, but you have the power to help the savannah recover." "Me?" Ella said, confused. "Yes, you are what's called a keystone species, vital to the savannah's survival. As an elephant, you contribute to the maintenance of the savannas and open woodlands by reducing tree densities. Without them, many other plants and animals would not survive, since there would not be enough water and resources to go around. Since many elephants have been killed, the responsibility will fall to you to maintain the savannah and keep the biome in balance. Your species has adapted to a ruminant diet, so you are able to eat almost any kind of vegetation to help the savannah." Ella listened and nodded. "Okay, I understand. From here on out, I will do everything I can to help the savannah thrive," Ella said, determined to prevent the tragedy that happened to her. From that day on, Ella became the protector of the savannah. Guided by the baobab tree and helped by Ollie and Winston, Ella was able to keep the savannah maintained, and as summer passed and the drought weakened, life slowly returned to the savannah, and rain began filling the once dried-out oasis. Ella had helped save the savannah. The end. We dedicate this book to the African savanna biome because it is a vital ecosystem. It is home to many beautiful and diverse species. The savannah has a unique environment that supports iconic animals like the lion and the elephant. But anthropogenic threats endanger the African savannah. These include deforestation, climate change, poaching, and land use expansion because of agricultural needs. Activities such as these threaten the balance of the ecosystem, leading to habitat loss, species decline, and an overall harm to the environment. The protection of the biome is important for preserving its wildlife and maintaining biodiversity. The savannah helps in the carbon cycle and is a big factor in climate regulation. It also supports the lives of millions of people. It also attracts tourism, which brings money into the economy and helps local businesses. To protect this biome as humans, we can support sustainable land use, fight poaching, and promote conservation efforts that protect wildlife and the savannah's environment. Raising awareness is key to protecting the home we love and protecting our world.